Hello and welcome back to another episode of Woodworking by Edgar in my series of rebuilding my old wooden rowboat. In this video I will show you getting my floorboards ready for polyurethane and polyurethaning those. Also getting the whole boat ready to be painted. I will also be fiberglassing and epoxying the bottom of the boat and putting runners on it. On this boat, I'm going to have some bright wood or clear varnished wood. And that is always a little bit of a controversy for some people. The people that would have used these boats back 40, 50 years ago, they would have just painted everything just for the ease of maintenance. And if you're going to stress out over people walking on your wood floor, or if you want people just to take their shoes off all the time or whatever, probably you're better off with a boat that is painted, and then you can just hose it off when you get done. I don't get stressed out over people getting on my boat with sneakers on or shoes or whatever. For me, it's easy enough once every few years to just sand the boat down and revarnish it. For some people, maybe they think that that's a lot of work, but I'm a woodworker. I like to see wood, so most of my boats have wood floors in them, and they have wood seats and a lot of wood trim. But that is not the way it used to be done back when this boat would have been built. Something else to consider when you're thinking about how much wood you're going to show on your boat is whether you're going to keep it inside or whether you're going to moor it or put it on a dock. If you keep your boat outside and exposed to the sun, polyurethaning or keeping wood showing is a lot more work. Sun does maybe more damage to your polyurethane than does water. So it is something to consider. I always trail on my boats. I always store my boats inside, or if I can't get it inside, it gets a cover over it. So I'm doing a sanding on the floorboards that go between the frames. I want to sand these down before I put some polyurethane on. When you epoxy something, epoxy does not stand up well to UV light, so you need to polyurethane over it. So I am sanding these down. I wanted to get them down to 220 before I polyurethaned it. I should also say that when you polyurethane something like this, you need to use a marine grade exterior polyurethane, which will stand up to the UV light. Regular polyurethane just doesn't stand up outdoors, so a good marine grade polyurethane works quite well. I like to use one of these pads for the flat areas. Puts a nice smooth coat on fairly quickly. And I use a soft bristle brush for any places that I need to get in between. So here I am sanding the whole inside of the boat, and I am getting ready to put another coat of epoxy on the inside so that the whole inside will be epoxied and waterproofed. So here I am mixing up some epoxy, and I will coat the whole inside of the boat and also the outside of the boat to protect it. So this is where I'm at now with it. So at this point I have flipped the boat over again, and now I am fitting some of the runners for the bottom of the boat. There were some runners on the original boat, and so I am fitting some new ones on there. And also there was an extension for the keel on the front of the boat, and so I will be putting that on there also. I'm routing around the edges of the runners so that they will be fairly nice and smooth. This is the keel extension. Here I have fiberglass cloth cut for the bottom of the boat, and I'm mixing up epoxy here to get that fiberglass cloth all matted in. I will also roll that fiberglass cloth over the sides and epoxy that in so that it will strengthen that joint between the sides and the bottom. I now have the bottom fiberglassed and coated with epoxy, and also the runners glued in place. Now, after the epoxy is cured, I am sanding the epoxy and getting the bottom and the sides ready for painting. This is one of my least favorite parts of the job, but it's something that needs to be done. I am now giving the bottom and the sides of the boat a coat of paint. Once all the bottom and sides were coated, I'm here now mixing up some Bondo, and I'm just going along and filling in some of the places where that there are imperfections. When you sand the epoxy, you can sand and sand until it looks pretty good, but once you give it a coat of paint, there always are imperfections and places you need to fill. I found that Bondo works fairly well for this process. It dries fairly quickly and sands down pretty easily. I should also say that you need to sand the boat down just a little bit before you put Bondo on, but here I am sanding down the Bondo and getting everything prepped for another coat of paint. So the name on the back got painted. I just painted everything inside here nicely, and the whole transom is all epoxied. So now once I get done here, I will just sand this all off that's on the top, and it should leave the insides of the lettering green, and the outside will stay clear. So today I'm going to be sanding out the inside of the boat. It looks like it's going to be another nice day, so I'm working outside. I'm going to start out by sanding this transom and get it so that only the letters are green. So we'll see how that all works out today. This came out looking really nice. When you do something like this, you have to be sure that the grain is all completely sealed back here so that paint doesn't go into the grain of the wood, because if it does, you will never be getting that out. So you have to first completely seal it. I gave it several coats of epoxy and sanded things down first, and then gave it that coat of paint, and then it just sands off nice and easy. So here I am sanding down the transom, and then I'll sand the inside of the boat all out and get everything ready for a coat of paint on the inside. Also sanding down the gunnels and just getting everything cleaned up and ready for paint. So I have the inside of the boat all sanded down and filled in some on the sides where the tape meets the wood, and now I'm going to push the boat inside and paint it inside because I don't want to paint out in the sun. So now I am painting the whole inside of the boat. That will all be the green, and the gunnels will stay clear and will get polyurethane, as also will the dashboard. So the inside has one coat now. It is always kind of fun to look back at what it looked like originally and to just compare what I had with what we have now. Quite a bit of difference in what it was before, but I like it better the way it looks now. I hope you're enjoying my series of rebuilding this wooden rowboat. And if you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.